Hello again, and thank you for joining me for the next video in the series that I've been putting out through my email newsletter over the last few weeks and months about preparing for a presentation. And at the moment, we are thinking about structure and different structures for your presentation. Now, we've mentioned three structures up to this point. I talked about past, present, future. I talked about FAQs, and I've talked about three main points, or the fishbone template. If you want to see those videos, you will find them in the newsletter playlist on my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about another non-linear structure. And this isn't dissimilar to FAQs, but a slightly more interesting and ambitious way to go about structuring a presentation. And this is a way of interacting with your audience far more and making your audience feel as if they are driving the content. The way this works is I will normally have a set of cards, maybe 10, 12 cards, with a question on one side. And that question will be pertinent to the topic I've been asked to talk about. And it will often be one of my FAQs, my frequently asked questions, the things that come up time and time again. I'll have all these cards and I will actually go out into the audience. So this works particularly well for very informal events or big events where I can walk up and down an aisle. I will go out to an audience and I will fan out the cards almost like a magician and say, pick a card. I will then invite the audience member to read out the question on that card. If necessary, I will have a microphone handy so they can do that. And then I answer that question. Now, when they hand that card back to me, I will sometimes have a few bullet points on the back of that card just to prompt me to the things I need to say. So I will answer that question for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll go back into the audience, find somebody else, offer them the rest of the cards, and get them to take one to read the question, and then I will answer that question. Now, it's really interesting because audiences really feel as if they are driving the content. It's them asking the questions. But of course, I've dictated those questions. I've prepared them in advance. So actually, while the audience enjoy that feeling of interaction, I'm still in control of what's going to be said. The one thing you need to be aware of if you're going to try this, however, is that you cannot have any one piece of content that is reliant on a previous piece of content, because you can't say, now, as I was saying about that one earlier, because you've got no guarantees that that question will already have come up. So each question needs to have a completely standalone answer. It's just something to bear in mind. Now, this is probably not a structure to use if you are a nervous presenter or you are new to presenting. This is something that I think is worth, if you are an established presenter, if you're experienced, try this. It's a good way to challenge yourself. It's a very different way of presenting, and it gets you out of that beginning, middle, end structure and puts it into much more free-flowing. As I say, it's a non-linear presentation. There isn't a clear opening and closing. Actually, it can be dictated by the audience. Of course, you don't have to answer every question in the same length of time. You may not get through all the questions, and actually that's fine. But I think it's just a really interesting way to structure your presentation, is to allow the audience to choose a card, ask the question. If necessary, you flick it over just to see some notes, just remind yourself what you want to talk on, and then you answer the question. It feels like Q&A. An audience feels like they're driving the content, and yet you are in complete control. So it's a lovely structure. It's one I enjoy doing. I love that ability to bounce off an audience and to move around a room. I really enjoy it. If you are going to do it, if you've been asked to deliver a keynote style presentation, just check with the organisers they're happy for you to go that route, because it is slightly different. But actually, most event organisers I come across love it because it feels very interactive, and they really love the fact the audience is involved. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. That's just another structure idea for you. So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another video on preparing your presentation. If you come to this video via my email newsletter, my e-zine, then while you're here, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel using the red button below. If you found this on YouTube, then in the comments under this video, you will find a link to my e-zine where you'll get lots of great content every other week. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you for the next video.